The morning sun was bright on the planet Kepler 442c. Daeho Kim walked beside his mother and father through the tall crystal trees. The 8-year-old boy loved these trips with his parents. His mother, Boram, was studying the strange plants that grew here. His father, Taemin, was looking at rocks and soil samples. "Stay close, Daeho," his mother said. "These forests can be dangerous." Daeho nodded, but his eyes were full of wonder. The crystal trees made beautiful sounds when the wind blew through them, like music from another world. Purple and blue lights danced in the crystal branches above his head. The human colony on this planet was still very new. Only 50 families lived here so far. They had come to study this world and its strange life forms. Daeho's parents were some of the best scientists Earth had sent. "Look at this," Taemin called out. He was kneeling beside a large blue crystal formation. "I have never seen anything like this before." Boram came over with her scanner. "The energy readings are very high. This crystal might be alive somehow." Daeho wanted to see too. He ran toward his parents but tripped over a root. When he looked up, dark clouds were forming in the sky very fast. The crystal trees began to make loud warning sounds. "Ion storm coming," Taemin shouted. "We need to get back to the base right now." The three of them started running, but the storm was moving too fast. Lightning began to strike all around them. The crystal trees were glowing bright white now. The air felt electric and dangerous. "This way." Boram pointed to a path between the trees. They ran as fast as they could, but the lightning was getting worse. A huge bolt struck a tree right next to them. The explosion knocked Daeho to the ground. When he got up, his parents were gone. "Mom, Dad," he called out. But the storm was too loud. Lightning kept striking everywhere. The air was full of bright light and terrible noise. Daeho was scared and alone. He tried to find the path his parents had taken, but all the paths looked the same now. The crystal trees were so bright he could barely see. The storm was getting stronger every minute. He found a small cave and crawled inside. The lightning could not reach him here, but he was still very scared. He had never been alone in the forest before, and he did not know how to get home. Hours passed. The storm finally ended, but now it was getting dark. Daeho was hungry and thirsty. He could hear strange sounds in the forest. Animal sounds he did not recognize. "Mom?" he called softly. "Dad? Please come find me." But no one answered. Only the wind in the crystal trees. That was when Daeho saw the golden eyes watching him from the darkness. At first he thought it might be a wild animal. He pressed himself against the back of the cave. But then the creature stepped into the moonlight. It looked almost like a person, but it was much smaller, only as tall as Daeho's chest. It had golden fur all over its body, large pointed ears like a fox, and the most intelligent eyes Daeho had ever seen. The creature tilted its head and made soft chirping sounds. It seemed curious about Daeho, not dangerous. The boy had heard his parents talk about the native people of this planet. They called them the Vallani, but no human had ever met one before. "Hello?" Daeho said quietly. The Vallani made more chirping sounds. Then it did something amazing. Daeho suddenly felt warm emotions in his mind. Not his own emotions. The Vallani was somehow sharing its feelings with him. Curiosity, concern, kindness. The young Vallani was named Kira. She had been hunting in the forest when she saw the lightning storm. She had watched the tall human people running through the trees. She had seen the small human child get lost and hide in the cave. Kira knew her people usually stayed away from the humans. Elder Noru had told everyone to watch the tall strangers but not to contact them. The humans had powerful tools and weapons. They could be dangerous, but this was just a child. A scared, lost child who needed help. Kira made soft sounds and held out her hand. Daeho was afraid, but he could feel her kind emotions. Slowly, he reached out and touched her furry hand. It was warm and gentle. More feelings flowed into his mind. Images, too. Kira was showing him that she wanted to help. She knew about the dangerous animals that hunted at night. She could keep him safe. "You want to help me?" Daeho asked. Kira could not understand his words, but she felt his emotions just like he felt hers. Fear, sadness, hope. She nodded and made encouraging chirping sounds. She led him out of the cave. The forest was dark, but Kira could see perfectly. Her people had lived in these crystal forests for thousands of years. She knew every path and every hiding place. They walked for an hour through the glowing trees. Finally, they came to a hidden valley. Daeho gasped when he saw it. Small houses made of crystal and wood were built into the hillsides. Gardens with strange plants glowed softly in the moonlight. And everywhere he looked, he saw more Villani people. They were all small and golden like Kira. Men, women, and children with fox-like features and bright, intelligent eyes. When they saw Deho, they made excited chirping sounds. Many of them had never seen a human before. An old Villani with silver fur came forward. This was Elder Noru, the leader of the tribe. His eyes were wise and kind. But Deho could feel worry in the old leader's mind. Kira chirped and whistled to Elder Noru. She was telling him about finding the lost human child. About the storm and the dangerous night animals. About how scared and alone the boy was. Other Villani gathered around. They all shared their emotions and thoughts with each other. It was like a conversation made of feelings instead of words. Some of the Villani were afraid. What if the other humans came looking? What if they blamed the Villani for taking their child? The tall humans had powerful weapons. They could destroy the village if they wanted to. But other Villani felt sorry for the lost child. He was so small and scared, and he was just a baby compared to the adult humans. How could they turn away a frightened child? Elder Noru looked at Deho for a long time. The old leader could feel the boy's pure emotions. Fear, sadness, but also wonder and gratitude. This child meant no harm to anyone. Finally, Elder Noru nodded. He made a decision that would change everything. The tribe would protect the human child. They would keep him safe until he could return to his family. It was the right thing to do. Kira felt joy flood through her mind. She hugged Deho gently. The other young Villani came forward to meet him. They offered him food and water, sweet fruits and crystal-clear spring water. Mira, the tribe's healer, made a soft bed for Deho in one of the crystal houses. She was like a grandmother to all the young Villani. Her fur was gray with age and her touch was very gentle. As Deho lay down to sleep, all the Villani formed a circle around the house. They would take turns keeping watch through the night. No harm would come to the human child while he was under their protection. Kira sat beside his bed and shared peaceful, happy thoughts with him. For the first time since the storm, Deho felt safe. These strange, wonderful people had welcomed him like family. He fell asleep to the sound of Villani lullabies, soft chirping songs that spoke of love and protection. Outside, the adult Villani talked in whispers. They all hoped the human searchers would find the boy soon, but until then they would guard him with their lives. It was their way, their honor. None of them knew that their simple act of kindness would soon be tested by forces from beyond the stars. None of them knew that protecting one small human child would bring them face to face with an empire that showed no mercy to anyone. 3 days had passed since Deho disappeared. His parents Boram and Tai-Min had not slept or eaten much. They spent every hour searching the crystal forests with the other colonists. Everyone in the human settlement was helping to look for the lost boy. "We have to find him," Boram said. Tears ran down her face. "He is just a child. He must be so scared." Tai-Min put his arm around his wife. "We will find him." Deho is a smart boy. He knows how to stay safe. But both parents were very worried. The forests were full of dangerous animals. And the nights were cold. How could an 8-year-old boy survive alone for 3 days? Captain Minho Park was leading the search teams. He had 20 soldiers and all the scanning equipment the colony had. But the crystal trees made their scanners work poorly, and the forest was huge. "Sir," said Sergeant Heijin Cho, "we have covered 12 square kilometers. No sign of the boy yet." Captain Park looked at the worried parents. "We will not give up. We will search every tree and every cave if we have to." That was when everything changed. The sky above them suddenly turned dark, but it was still midday. Everyone looked up in shock. Huge black shapes were blocking out the sun. Ships, massive alien ships were coming down from space. "Everyone back to the colony," Captain Park shouted. "Emergency alert! This is not a drill." The colonists ran as fast as they could. The alien ships were bigger than anything humans had ever built. They looked like giant metal insects with glowing red eyes. As they got closer, the ships made terrible screeching sounds. At the colony, people were panicking. Families grabbed their children and ran to the underground shelters. The few soldiers they had prepared their weapons. But everyone knew it would not be enough. The largest ship landed right in the center of the colony. Its shadow covered half the buildings. Steam and smoke poured from its engines. Then a huge door opened with a loud hissing sound. The first aliens to come out were 8 feet tall. They had gray skin like stone and red glowing eyes. Their bodies were covered in black metal armor. They carried weapons that crackled with electric energy. Behind them came their leader. He was even bigger than the others. 10 feet tall with scars all over his face. A crown of metal spikes sat on his head. This was Overlord Vex of the Krillian Empire. "Attention, humans," Vex said in a voice like thunder. He spoke perfect English. The Krillians had been watching human colonies for months. "This planet now belongs to the Krillian Empire. You have 24 hours to leave. Take only what you can carry." Captain Park stepped forward. He was brave, but his hands were shaking. "This is a peaceful research colony. We have done nothing wrong. Why are you doing this?" Overlord Vex laughed. It was a cold, cruel sound. "This planet has rare crystals we need for our empire. You are in our way. Leave now or be removed by force." "We need more time," Captain Park said. "We have families here, children, and one of our children is missing in the forest." "Not our problem," Vex replied. 24 hours. That is all." The Krillian soldiers spread out through the colony. They began marking buildings with strange symbols. Everything was being claimed for their empire. Boram and Timon pushed through the crowd. "Please," Boram begged. "Our son is lost in the forest. We cannot leave without him." Overlord Vex looked down at the crying woman. "One human child is not worth delaying our mining operation. If he is in the forest, he is probably dead already." "You monster," Timon shouted. "He is just 8 years old." General Thane, Vex's second-in-command, raised his weapon. "Watch your tone, human. The Overlord is being generous. Most conquered species get no warning at all." Captain Park held Timon back before he could say anything else. The Krillians would kill them all without thinking twice about it. The alien soldiers continued marking the colony. Some of them flew small ships over the forest areas. They were scanning for valuable crystal deposits. And they were also looking for any pests that might interfere with their mining. "Sir," one soldier reported to General Thane, "we have detected a native settlement in Sector 7. Small population. Primitive technology. Eliminate them," Thane ordered. "We cannot have vermin stealing our crystals." The humans heard this and were horrified. There were native people on this planet, peaceful people who had done nothing wrong, and the Krillians were going to kill them all. But there was nothing the humans could do. They had only 20 soldiers with basic weapons. The Krillians had hundreds of warriors with advanced technology. In the hidden valley, the Villani had also seen the alien ships. Elder Noru gathered all his people for an emergency meeting. The crystal trees were telling them that danger was coming. "Great danger. The sky demons have come," whispered Mira, the old healer. Just like in the ancient stories, Kira held Deho close. The human boy could feel the fear in her mind. But he could also feel her determination. She would not let anything happen to him. "What are sky demons?" Deho asked. Through their emotional connection, Kira showed him images. Ancient Villani memories passed down through generations. Long ago, other aliens had come to steal and destroy. They had enslaved many Villani tribes. Only the hidden villages survived. Elder Noru spoke to his people in their chirping language. But he also shared his thoughts with everyone. The new sky demons were even worse than the old ones. They did not want slaves. They wanted the planet empty. "We should run," said Zeph, Kira's brother. He was a young warrior, strong and brave. "Take everyone to the deep caves. Hide until they leave." "What about the human child?" Kira asked. Her emotions were full of worry. The tribe fell silent. They all looked at Deho. He was sitting quietly, trying to understand their chirping language. He looked so small and helpless. Some of the Villani wanted to return him to the human colony, let his own people take care of him. But others knew the truth. The humans would have to leave the planet, and they would not be able to take a lost child with them when they were running for their lives. "The human child stays with us," Elder Noru decided. "We promise to protect him. Villani do not break their promises." "But the sky demons will kill us all," said another villager. "Then we will die protecting him," Noru replied. "It is the right thing to do." Far above them, Krillian ships were already moving toward their valley. General Thane had ordered immediate elimination of all native settlements. He wanted the planet cleared before the mining ships arrived. "Contact the fleet," Overlord Vex commanded. "Tell them to prepare the mining equipment. This planet will be stripped bare within 6 months." At the human colony, desperate people were packing what they could carry. Captain Park had sent an emergency message to Earth, but the nearest human fleet was weeks away. too far to help. Boram and Taemin refused to pack anything. "We are not leaving without our son," Boram said. "You will all die if you stay," Captain Park warned them. "Then we die," Taemin replied. "We will not abandon our child." As night fell, Krillian ships moved through the forest like giant metal predators. Their scanning beams cut through the darkness. They were looking for the native settlement that their satellites had detected. In the hidden valley, the Vellani could see the lights getting closer. Elder Noru made the hardest decision of his life. The tribe would not run. They would not hide. They would stand and fight. It did not matter that they had no chance of winning. It did not matter that they were small and weak compared to the Krillians. They had sworn to protect the human child, and Vellani honor meant more than life itself. Kira hugged Daeho one more time. She shared feelings of love and protection with him. Whatever happened, she would keep him safe. "What is happening?" Daeho asked. He could feel the fear and determination in her mind. Kira could not explain with words. But her emotions told him everything. Bad people were coming, people who wanted to hurt everyone, but she would fight them. All the Vellani would fight them. The first Krillian ship appeared over the valley like a black cloud. Its weapons began to charge with deadly energy. General Thane's voice echoed from speakers on the ship. "Attention, primitive species. You are to be eliminated for the glory of the Krillian Empire. Resistance is useless." Elder Noru stood in the center of the village and raised his staff high. Around him, every Vellani warrior picked up their weapons. Spears and bows against energy cannons. Courage against overwhelming power. The last stand was about to begin. The first energy blast hit the edge of the Vellani village. Ancient crystal houses exploded into bright fragments. The Krillians expected the small fox-like aliens to run in terror. Instead, something amazing happened. The Vellani fought back. Kira and her brother Zeph had hidden Daeho in the deepest cave. "Stay here," Kira told him through their emotional connection. "Do not come out no matter what you hear." Daeho was terrified, but he could feel Kira's fierce love protecting him. "Please be careful," he whispered. Kira touched his face gently. Then she ran to join the battle. The Vellani knew they could not win with strength. But they knew these crystal forests better than anyone. Elder Noru had a plan. "Use the singing crystals," he commanded. "Make the forests fight with us." The Vellani had lived with the crystal trees for thousands of years. They knew secrets the Krillians could never guess. The crystals were not just pretty rocks. They were alive in their own way, and they did not like strangers who brought violence to their forest. Zeph and the other warriors ran through the trees with special tools. They struck certain crystals in a pattern their ancestors had taught them. The crystals began to sing, not the beautiful music Daeho had heard before. This was something different, a war song. The crystal trees started to glow brighter and brighter. The Krillian soldiers who were walking between them suddenly found their weapons not working properly. The crystals were interfering with their technology. "What is happening?" General Thane demanded. "Why are our weapons malfunctioning?" His soldiers tried to retreat to their ships, but the Vellani were ready for them. Warriors dropped from the crystal branches like golden shadows. Their spears found gaps in the alien armor. Mira, the old healer, was not fighting with weapons. Instead, she was preparing something even more important. She mixed rare crystal dust with forest herbs. This would help the wounded warriors keep fighting longer. But the Vellani were still badly outnumbered. For every Krillian soldier they stopped, 2 more took his place. The aliens had better weapons and armor. Slowly, they pushed deeper into the village. "Fall back to the second ring," Elder Noru ordered. His fur was stained with blood, but his eyes were still fierce. The Vellani had prepared many defensive positions. They knew this day might come someday. Each ring of defense was harder to break than the last. Kira fought beside her brother Zeph. They moved like dancers between the crystal trees. When Krillian soldiers tried to follow them, they found deadly traps waiting, spears that shot from hidden holes, nets that dropped from above, crystal formations that exploded when touched. "These creatures are more dangerous than we thought," General Thane told his troops. "Use heavy weapons. Burn everything." The Krillians brought out flamethrowers and explosive charges. Ancient crystal houses that had stood for centuries were destroyed in seconds. Beautiful gardens where Vellani children played were turned to ash. But for every house they destroyed, they paid in blood. The Vellani fought with desperate courage. They knew they were protecting more than just their village. They were protecting the human child who trusted them. Elder Noru fell when a Krillian blast hit him in the chest. As he lay dying, he called Mira to his side. "The sacred crystal," he whispered. "Use it to call for help." Mira knew what he meant. Deep in the cave where Deho was hiding, there was a special crystal their tribe had guarded for generations. It could send thoughts across the stars, but using it would take all of Mira's life energy. "I understand," Mira said. She kissed Elder Noru's forehead as he died. The battle raged on. More Vallani warriors fell defending their homes. Zeph was wounded badly but kept fighting. Only a dozen defenders were left now. Kira fought her way back to the cave where Deho was hidden. The human boy was crying. He could feel all the pain and death happening outside. The emotional connection with the Vallani made him share their suffering. "I am sorry," Kira told him through her thoughts. "We tried to protect you, but we are not strong enough." "Do not give up," Deho said. Even though he was just 8 years old, he understood what the Vallani were dying for. "You are the bravest people I have ever known." Mira reached the sacred crystal chamber. The ancient stone glowed with inner light. She placed her hands on it and felt its power flow through her mind. This crystal could send messages to any thinking being in the galaxy. But the effort would kill her. She did not hesitate. Mira poured all her love for the human child into the crystal, all her grief for her fallen people, all her hope that somewhere someone would understand their sacrifice. The message that burst from the crystal was not made of words. It was pure emotion. The love of a dying grandmother for a child not even of her own species. The desperate courage of small people fighting impossible odds. The willingness to die for what was right. That message traveled faster than light across the galaxy. It touched the minds of every psychic being within 100 light years. Most did not understand it, but some did. On Earth, Dr. Young-Soo Han was working late in his laboratory. He studied alien communications for the human government. He had special equipment that could detect psychic transmissions. Suddenly, his machines went crazy. Alarms started ringing. Energy readings shot off the scale. And then Young-Soo felt something he had never experienced before. Emotions that were not his own flooded his mind: love, sacrifice, protection, and images of a small human boy surrounded by dying, fox-like aliens who had given everything to keep him safe. "Alert the fleet," Young-Soo shouted to his assistants. "Emergency message to Admiral Park. We have found intelligent alien life, and they are dying to protect a human child." Back on Kepler 442c, the Vallani defense was crumbling. Only Kira, Zeph, and 3 other warriors were still alive. They had retreated to the final cave where Deho waited. General Thane himself came to finish them off. He was tired of losing soldiers to these primitive creatures. His armor was scratched and his weapon was fully charged. "Enough games," he growled. "Kill them all, including the human brat." The last 5 Vallani stood in a circle around Deho. Their weapons were broken. Their fur was matted with blood, but their eyes still burned with determination. "You want the child?" Kira snarled at the Krillian general. "Come and take him." General Thane raised his weapon. He was about to fire when something impossible happened. The cave ceiling exploded inward. A human military dropship crashed through the rock and landed in the center of the chamber. The engine was still smoking. The hull was damaged from pushing through space faster than it was designed to go. The ship's door burst open. Admiral Hyunwoo Park stepped out with a squad of human marines. Their armor was black with gold stripes. Their weapons were charged and ready. Admiral Park looked around the cave. He saw the dead Vallani warriors, the wounded survivors protecting a human child, the Krillian soldiers with their weapons aimed at defenseless aliens. His face went cold with rage. "Stand down, Krillian," Admiral Park commanded. "By order of the Earth Defense Fleet, these beings are under human protection." General Thane laughed. "One ship against our entire fleet? You humans are as stupid as you are weak. Look again," Admiral Park said. Through the hole in the cave ceiling, Thane could see the sky. It was full of human ships. Battlecruisers, destroyers, fighters. The entire Earth Defense Fleet had come. They had pushed their engines beyond safe limits to get here in time. Some ships had suffered damage from the dangerous speed, but they had made it. Kira felt tears in her eyes as she looked at Admiral Park. This human leader had risked everything to save them, just like they had risked everything to save his child. "The cavalry has arrived," Admiral Park said with a grim smile. "Now let us discuss what happens to people who attack children." General Thane realized he had made a terrible mistake. These humans were not weak colonists. They were warriors, and they were very, very angry. The rescue was just beginning, but the real war was about to start. 3 days earlier, Dr. Young-Soo Han had been working quietly in his research station orbiting Earth. His job was to listen for alien signals from space. Most days he heard nothing but cosmic noise. Today was different. His equipment started screaming alerts at exactly 14:32 Earth time. Energy readings jumped to levels he had never seen before. But this was not a normal radio signal. This was something impossible. Pure emotion was flooding through space. Pain, love, sacrifice, and desperate hope all mixed together. Young-Soo felt like he was drowning in feelings that were not his own. Computer record everything, he gasped. Maximum sensitivity on all channels. The emotional message was so strong it made Young-Soo fall to his knees. He saw images in his mind. A small human boy with dark hair and frightened eyes. Golden-furred creatures with fox-like faces fighting impossible odds. Warriors dying to protect a child who was not even their own species. This cannot be real, Young-Soo whispered. But the emotions were too pure to be fake. Too desperate to be a trick. He played back the recording and enhanced the signal. The images became clearer. The human child was definitely real. Young-Soo could see human clothing on him. The boy looked Korean like his own son. The fox-like aliens were dying for this child, giving their lives willingly to keep him safe. Their love for the human boy was stronger than their fear of death. Young-Soo hit the emergency alert button. Red lights flashed throughout the station. This is Dr. Han calling Earth Command. Priority Alpha emergency. We have first contact with alien intelligence, and they are dying to protect a human child. Admiral Hyun-woo Park received the message while reviewing fleet exercises near Jupiter. He was a big man with gray hair and steady eyes. He had fought in 3 wars and never lost a battle. Patch me through to Dr. Han immediately, the Admiral ordered. Young-Soo's face appeared on the command screen. He looked shaken but determined. Admiral, you need to see this recording. We have discovered a psychic alien species. They are under attack by hostiles, and they are protecting a human child with their lives. Admiral Park watched the psychic recording in silence. He saw Elder Noru fall defending the village. He saw Mira sacrifice herself to send the message. He saw young Kira standing guard over Daeho even as everything burned around them. How old is the message? The Admiral asked. 4 hours, sir. It took time to translate the psychic content into images we could understand. Location. Kepler 442c, sir. The research colony. Admiral Park's jaw tightened. He knew about the colony. Peaceful scientists and their families. If they were under attack, the entire colony was in danger. Send immediate orders to all ships, he commanded. Emergency deployment to Kepler 442c. Maximum speed. Battle ready. Sir, said Captain Ji-won Lee. That would require pushing our engines beyond safe limits. We could lose ships. Did you see that recording, Captain? Those aliens are dying for our people. For our children. We will not let them down. The Earth Defense Fleet had never moved so fast. Battle cruisers that normally took weeks to prepare were ready in hours. Admiral Park transferred his flag to the fastest ship they had. Push the engines to 110% capacity, he ordered. I do not care if we burn them out. Those people need us now. Captain Lee looked worried. Sir, at that speed we risk engine failure. Or worse. Those aliens risked everything for a human child they barely knew, Admiral Park replied. We can risk our engines for them. The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. The engines screamed under the strain. 3 smaller ships had to drop out with engine damage, but the main fleet kept going. Admiral Park spent the journey studying everything they knew about Kepler 442c. The colony reports mentioned native life forms, but no contact had been made. Now it seemed the natives were more intelligent than anyone had guessed. Sir, Dr. Han called from his research station. I am still receiving psychic transmissions from the planet. The aliens are still fighting, but the signals are getting weaker. How much longer until we arrive? Admiral Park asked his navigator. 6 hours, sir. But the engines cannot take much more abuse. They will hold together, the Admiral said firmly. They have to. Meanwhile, on Kepler 442c, the human colonists were in panic. The Krillian deadline was only hours away. Most families were already boarding the evacuation ships, but Bo-ram and Taemin Kim refused to leave. They sat in their empty house holding hands and crying. Our son is out there somewhere, Bo-ram said. I can feel it. He is still alive. Captain Minho Park had tried to convince them to evacuate. You cannot help him if you are dead, he argued. We cannot live if we abandon him, Taemin replied. The other colonists understood. Many of them had children too. How could any parent leave their child behind? As the deadline approached, Overlord Vex grew impatient. His mining ships were already on their way. He wanted the planet cleared immediately. General Thane, he commanded, begin immediate elimination of all remaining humans, and destroy those native settlements your scouts found. I want this planet empty within the hour. General Thane smiled cruelly. With pleasure, Overlord. I have been wanting to test our new weapons. Krillian ships spread out across the planet. Their mission was simple. Kill everything that moved. Leave nothing alive to interfere with the mining operation. The attack on the Villani village had already begun. But other settlements were also under assault. The Krillians were thorough in their brutality. At the human colony, Overlord Vex himself prepared to lead the final attack. He wanted to personally oversee the destruction of the stubborn humans who had refused to leave. Sir, a Krillian technician called out. I am detecting ships approaching from space. Many ships. Vex looked at his display screens. His expression changed from confidence to confusion to fear. The sky was filling with human vessels, more ships than the Krillians had expected humans to possess. How is this possible? Vex demanded. Our intelligence said the nearest human fleet was weeks away. They must have pushed their engines beyond normal limits, General Thane observed. Dangerous but effective. Admiral Park's flagship burst through the atmosphere like a burning meteor. Behind it came dozens of other human ships. Battle cruisers, destroyers, and fighters filled the sky. This is Admiral Park of the Earth Defense Fleet. His voice boomed across all radio channels. All Krillian forces will stand down immediately. You are in violation of interstellar law. Overlord Vex was shocked but not intimidated. You are outnumbered, human. We have a full invasion fleet here. Numbers are not everything, Admiral Park replied, especially when you make the mistake of attacking our children. The Admiral had seen the psychic recordings. He knew what the Villani had sacrificed, and he knew that somewhere on this planet aliens were dying to protect a human child. All ships attack Pattern Alpha, he commanded. Priority target is the surface forces threatening native populations. Show them what happens when you hurt our friends. The space battle began immediately. Human ships were outnumbered, but they had advantages the Krillians did not expect. They were fighting for something more than conquest. They were fighting for honor, for justice, for the aliens who had protected their child. But the most important battle was still happening on the ground. In a crystal cave, 5 wounded Villani warriors stood guard over 8-year-old Daeho Kim. General Thane was about to kill them all when the ceiling exploded. Admiral Park's dropship crashed through the rock and landed hard. The Admiral himself stepped out, followed by his best Marines. He looked around the cave and saw everything. The dead Villani heroes, the wounded survivors still protecting the human child. The Krillian soldiers about to commit murder. Admiral Park's face went cold with controlled rage. Stand down, alien. These beings are under the protection of humanity. General Thane raised his weapon. One squad against our army? You cannot save them. Look up, Admiral Park suggested. Through the hole in the ceiling they could all see the sky battle. Human ships were systematically destroying the Krillian fleet. The aliens who had seemed so powerful were being crushed by human fury. You made one mistake, Admiral Park told General Thane. You hurt someone who was protecting our children. That is something we cannot forgive. Kira looked up at the human admiral with tears in her eyes. This tall stranger had crossed the galaxy to save them, just like they had risked everything to save his child. She reached out with her mind and shared her emotions with Admiral Park, gratitude, relief, and the pure love she felt for the human boy they had protected. Admiral Park felt the Villani's emotions and was amazed. These small, brave creatures had sacrificed everything for a child of another species. They had shown the best of what intelligence could be. The war is over, he told General Thane. Your fleet is destroyed. Surrender now and you will be treated according to interstellar law. General Thane looked around and realized the truth. His soldiers were backing away in fear. The Krillian fleet was burning in space above them. He had lost everything, but the real victory was not the battle. It was the bond that had been forged between two species. Human and Villani had found each other across the void of space, and they had learned that some things were worth dying for. The rescue was complete, but the story was just beginning. The first thing Admiral Park did was kneel down beside the wounded Vellani warriors. These small, brave creatures had fought an impossible battle to protect a human child. They deserved his respect. Can you understand me? He asked gently. Kira reached out with her mind and touched the Admiral's thoughts. She shared the Vellani gift of emotional communication with him. Suddenly he could feel what she was feeling. Exhaustion, pain, but also hope and gratitude. My name is Kira, she said through their mental connection. We protected your child because it was right. Because he needed us. Admiral Park felt tears in his eyes. The pure goodness of these aliens amazed him. Thank you, he said. Thank you for keeping him safe. Deho ran to Admiral Park and hugged his legs. They saved me, the boy said. When I was lost and scared, they took care of me. Like family. The Admiral picked up Deho and held him close. We know, son. We saw what they did for you, and we will never forget it. Medical teams arrived to help the wounded Vellani. Human doctors worked alongside Mira, the Vellani healer who had survived her sacrifice to send the psychic message. Language was not needed. Both species knew how to heal with kindness. General Thane and his surviving soldiers were taken prisoner. The Krillian invasion fleet was completely destroyed. But Admiral Park was not finished with them yet. You came here to kill children, he told the captured Krillian general. Human children and Vellani children. That makes you war criminals. We were following orders, Thane protested. This is how the Krillian Empire operates. Not anymore, Admiral Park replied. Your empire just learned what happens when you threaten species under human protection. Word of the battle spread quickly through human space. The psychic recordings of the Vellani sacrifice were broadcast to every human world. People watched in amazement as the small fox-like aliens died protecting a human child they barely knew. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Every human colony, every military unit, every civilian organization demanded the same thing. The Vellani must be protected at all costs. Boram and Taemin Kim were reunited with their son at the human colony. They cried with joy as they held him. But they also cried for the Vellani who had died keeping him safe. How do we thank them? Boram asked. How do we repay such a sacrifice? Elder Noru was dead. So were dozens of other Vellani warriors. Their families mourned them with beautiful singing that made the crystal trees glow with soft light. Admiral Park attended the Vellani funeral ceremony. He did not understand their language, but he felt their emotions. Grief for the fallen, pride in their sacrifice, and love for the human child they had died protecting. After the ceremony, the surviving Vellani leaders met with human officials. Kira was now the youngest elder her people had ever had. The responsibility weighed heavily on her small shoulders. What happens now? She asked through her telepathic connection. Admiral Park had been waiting for this question. The Earth government has made a decision. The Vellani species is now under official human protection. That means any attack on your people will be considered an attack on humanity itself. Kira was amazed. But we are so few, so weak. Why would you do this for us? Because you protected our child when you did not have to, the Admiral replied. Because you showed us what true courage looks like. And because good people should not have to face evil alone. The human colony on Kepler 442c was rebuilt bigger and better than before. But now it was not just a human settlement. It was the first joint human-Vellani colony in the galaxy. Vellani families came out of hiding in the deep forests. They had been afraid of the tall humans for so long, but now they knew these strangers could be trusted. They could be friends. Human engineers worked with Vellani crystal singers to build amazing new structures. The aliens' knowledge of the living crystals combined with human technology created wonders neither species could have made alone. Dr. Young-Soo, Han established the first interspecies communication center on the planet. He worked with Mira to understand how Vellani telepathy worked. Soon special devices allowed humans and Vellani to share thoughts and emotions easily. Deho became the first human child to learn the Vellani language of emotions. He could speak with crystal songs and share feelings like the aliens did. He grew up as a bridge between two worlds, but the most important changes happened in space. News of the Vellani sacrifice reached every corner of the galaxy. Other alien species heard the story and were amazed. The Krillian Empire tried to defend their actions. The humans are weak, Overlord Vex declared from his prison cell. They waste resources protecting inferior species, but other empires did not agree. The Arctarian Republic, the Zenith Collective, And even the mysterious Voidwalkers all sent messages to Earth. They wanted to know more about these humans who would cross the galaxy to protect alien children. Your species shows unusual honor, the Arcturian ambassador said. This is rare in the galaxy. Admiral Park was promoted to Supreme Commander of all human fleets. His first order was to establish the protection protocols. Any species that requested human protection would receive it. No questions asked. The Volani were the first, but they would not be the last. 5 years later, the memorial was completed in the valley where Elder Noru fell. It was made of living crystal that sang with the voices of the dead. The inscription was written in both human letters and Volani emotion script. Here fell Elder Noru and his warriors, who died protecting a human child. They showed us that love knows no species, honor knows no boundaries, and family is not defined by blood but by sacrifice. Admiral Park attended the memorial ceremony with his own children. They were the same age now that Daeho had been when he was lost in the forest. Why did they do it, Dad? His daughter asked. Why did they die for someone who was not even their own kind? Because that is what good people do, Admiral Park replied. They protect children, all children, no matter who they are or where they come from. Kira was there too, now grown into a wise leader of her people. She still carried the emotional scars of that terrible battle, but she also carried something else, pride. Her people had done the right thing even when it seemed hopeless. Do you ever regret it? Admiral Park asked her. All the lives lost for one human child. Kira touched his mind with hers and shared her true feelings. Look around you, she said. The valley was full of human and Volani children playing together. They laughed the same way. They cried the same way. They protected each other the same way. Your son became the bridge between our worlds, Kira continued. Our sacrifice saved more than one child. It saved the future. Daeho was 13 now. He spoke perfect Volani and could sing to the crystal trees. He was training to become a diplomat between the species. His dream was to find more alien civilizations that could become part of the growing alliance. Aunt Kira, he said, using the Volani word for beloved family member, tell me again about the night you found me. Kira smiled and shared the memory through their emotional connection. The scared little boy in the cave. The decision to help him. The battle that changed everything. And tell me about the promise, Daeho added. We promised to protect you, Kira said, and we always keep our promises. Just like Earth promised to protect your people, Daeho replied. And we always keep our promises too. Admiral Park looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Krillian Empire was learning what happened to species that attacked children under human protection. Their military was broken. Their colonies were in rebellion. Their empire was crumbling. Other hostile empires had received the message. Humanity would not start wars, but they would finish them, especially if children were threatened. But the galaxy was also learning something else about humans. They were not conquerors. They were protectors. They adopted alien species into their growing family. They shared technology and knowledge freely. The Human Protection League now included 12 different species. All of them had one thing in common. They had shown kindness to humanity when it mattered most. As the memorial ceremony ended, Admiral Park made a speech that was broadcast across human space. Today we remember the Volani who died for one of our children, he said. But we also celebrate what their sacrifice created, a galaxy where good people stand together, where children are safe no matter what species they belong to. The Volani showed us that love is universal, courage is universal, honor is universal, and from this day forward humanity will stand guard over any species brave enough to protect our children. The crowd cheered. Human voices and Volani songs mixed together in beautiful harmony. In the years that followed, the story of Daeho and Kira spread to every world in the galaxy. It became legend. It became hope. Children of many species grew up hearing about the human boy who was saved by aliens, and the aliens who were saved by humans. It taught them that family was bigger than any one world, bigger than any one species. The galaxy was still dangerous. There were still empires that chose conquest over cooperation, but now they knew that somewhere among the stars, humans were watching, waiting, ready to protect anyone who needed protection. And it all started with a lost 8-year-old boy and a young Volani scout who decided to do the right thing. The end.